Hello, dancers. I'm Dr. Krista Christensen. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm a physical therapist and the founder of Dance Evolution app and Dance Health LLC. So what you're going to see in this upcoming video is a recording of a live Zoom call that I had with aspiring dance physical therapists. They asked me whatever questions they had about the process of becoming a dance physical therapist, the process of getting into PT school, surviving PT school, and then starting my own practice as a dance physical therapist. So I figured that you guys might like watching this content. So here it is for you. If you want to join in on calls like this, we have community calls from time to time. You can join them by downloading the Dance Evolution app if you haven't already. And we have those once in a while for free. If you want more serious coaching, that's also in the Dance Evolution app under Med Pro Coaching. So you can apply to that and get bi-monthly group coaching calls with me, and we sit down and create a plan for you, and you get resources and everything that you need to make your dance medical professional dreams come true. So if that's intriguing to you, look for a link somewhere around this video to join in on the MedPro coaching and or the free community calls. All right, with that being said, enjoy the video, and I hope this is useful to you. Okay, awesome. Well, welcome you guys to the Dance DPT, how to become a Dance DPT Zoom call tonight. I'm really happy to have you here and just excited to kind of share my story. It's, I don't really have this formatted in any way, but I just sort of want this to be like a open conversation where we can all share our experiences and our questions and our answers and kind of network and support each other. So I think what I will do is just sort of like tell you my story first, because some people were saying like, how did you do what you did? And yes, I have a 6-year-old. Yes, you can have another marshmallow. Yes, another reason why working for myself is great. I can like work while I'm home. So yeah, so basically I was a dancer. I started ballet when I was 3 years old, kind of your typical story. And then I got my undergrad in kinesiology, exercise science. And I just kind of accidentally minored in dance because I couldn't stay away from the dance classes. And so I kept taking them. And then by the time it was time to graduate, I was like, oh my God, I think I could have a minor with all these classes that I took. So that was cool. So I minored in dance. And then the person who was the director of the dance program was also the director of a local professional contemporary company. And she asked me to audition. And so I ended up dancing with them. And that was in Idaho. And I had just a super time like doing all of that and having that experience of growing as an artist and dancing professionally. We toured mostly the Pacific Northwest, and it was mostly contemporary, but I was definitely like the bun head of the group. So if there was ever like a balletic part, they'd be like, Krista, you're on. So that was that. But throughout my whole journey of dancing, I was like the really hyper mobile dancer that was just always getting injured. I just always had an injury. And I think in hindsight, I might have like EDS or something. I'm still not diagnosed, but I probably have some sort of like connective tissue disorder where like I just was injured because I was so hypermobile and I never worked out. I literally just lived at the ballet studio and like did some Pilates and sometimes did some crunches and like figured that was enough. Because I already felt like I was maxed out, like max capacity. So dealing with injuries, went to physical therapy a lot personally, found them to be the most helpful in my recovery journey. Had some good experiences with doctors and some not so good experiences with doctors, and decided, the world could probably use some more good dance doctors. And I also really was just like naturally interested in the human body and how it worked, and just like naturally a nerd. So that really fit. And I love helping people. It's kind of like my alter ego personality is just, I love helping people. And so that worked out really well as well. I thought about nursing, but I was like, I don't really want to deal with fluids. So, so I was like, all right, PT seems good. And it's actually the perfect fit. Like I love being a PT. So from there, I ended up retiring out with a ton of like chronic injuries. So essentially I was able to kind of manage like one injury at a time, but then at the end, it was just like everything at once. I had a labral tear and I fractured my back, and I have meniscus tears and like ankle issues and feet issues, and I was just like falling apart. And we were relocating. And so it's just like, you know what, I think it's a good time for me to retire and have a kid. And I taught full time and did my PT observation hours as an aide. Gosh, my story is so freaking long now. I feel like I'm as old as the hills. Like, buckle up, everybody. It keeps going. This feels like a lifetime ago. So yeah, I did all my hours and all that. By the time I was able to apply for physical therapy school, I had already had a kid. She was about 1 when I started school. And then I split from my husband 3 months into PT school. And it was just like a total nightmare. It was so stressful. And Christine can attest to my like probably really bad coping skills. She like saw me through that whole time of being in PT school with a 1-year-old, going through divorce by myself. And that was crazy. So just like buckling down, making it through that. I'll try to speed this up. So then I worked in 2 different outpatient clinics. I worked in one that was like a sports ortho outpatient. And then I worked at one that was more of like a holistic kind of like yoga inspired aerial, you know, Pilates reformer kind of one-on-one style, like on the river, super cute clinic. But in the end, I was like, you know, I just really want to be my own boss. I don't want to be tied down by the 9 to 5. I don't want to deal with anyone else's disorganization or agendas or like a lack of business sense. And felt like it was just sucking the life out of me to like have to go to work every day. So I took the plunge to do my business full time. And now here we are, present day. I'm in my little dance therapy studio. I also have a full gym in my garage. So I work out of my house. And I treat dancers, and I don't take insurance because it's a pain in the butt. And this is my life. So was so long. All right. Are you guys awake? I feel like I need to like, okay, time to go. Oh, Alexis is here. Oh, not Alexa. Oh my gosh, Alexis, does that happen to you like your entire life? Oh my goodness. Did anyone hear that? The Alexa just went off. Anyways, so that being said, I guess we'll just kind of jump into like some questions that you have. I had several of you give me some good questions that you had when you asked for the info. So I can go through that, or if you have anything like off the top of your head that may or may not have been inspired by my entire life story, feel free to shoot with that.
Can you dive into how you made the transition from like working at a clinic or being at someone else's business to like starting your own business, and what that journey looked like for you?
Yeah. So much I could say about that. I was kind of on the fence about like whether or not I wanted to stay there and just like take over that business, or if I wanted to start my own business. Well, honestly, I'd started my own business back in PT school because I knew that that's what I wanted to do. But I didn't like do much with it because I was just so overwhelmed by like working 40 hours a week and like being a mom and like just, you know, posted once in a while. So anyways, the decision to go from working at a clinic to working for myself, it looked a lot like just listening to my intuition on like when the timing was right. And you just kind of get a sense, I think, for like when you know you're done with something, like when you've had enough of it, you're like, I just can't do this anymore. Like this is crushing my soul. Right. So at that point, you're like, okay, maybe this is a good time to transition because I'm not having it. The practical side of it is that I needed, you know, the finances to be able to do that. So what I ended up doing was I started seeing patients in person instead of just trying to do a bunch of online stuff. I started seeing more and more patients in person and would charge for a package deal. So again, I don't take insurance. So I would just say like, you can get one session for $197, you can get 10 sessions at $145 a session, or you can get 20 sessions at $125 a session. And so people would just buy like the 10 package, 20 package. And then there you go. There's like $2,500 in my account, $1,500 in my account. You know what I mean? And so you make enough of those sales, and you're like, okay, I have enough to like make it through a few months, right? So there was definitely that like time. There's probably a matter of 4 or 5 months where I was like preparing for that transition. So that was really hard because I was working my full-time job, and then I would like work at the clinic and then come home and then see my patients here at my house. And then so it was just like working a lot for 4 or 5 months, but it was worth it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Anything else?
How much time in between did you have from undergrad to when you actually went to PT school?
Another good question. So when I graduated undergrad, I think it was like 2015. I think it was 2 years. I had 2 years in between, and that's because I was married to a military guy, and he was stationed in this like random location, and we didn't know if we would be there very long. And so I couldn't start PT school, right? Because you can't transfer schools. So I was like, well, I have to wait to apply to PT school. So I might as well be productive. I taught ballet full time, and I worked as a PT tech at like a bunch of different clinics, and I popped out a human. So that's what I did with the 2 years. But I think it was kind of nice to like have a little downtime before we're jumping back into school. So are any of you guys going to take like a little gap time? You just gonna go straight for it? There's no real like right answer. Alexis, how did you figure out starting your business, contracts, insurance things? Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, let me pull this up to chat. Hi, Alexis, by the way. Alexis is, correct me if I'm wrong, you already are a physical therapist. Yes. Alexis is a PT, and she wants to,
Hi, sorry, I'm joining in late. Yes, I am a PT. I am currently in pediatrics though, but I've been a dancer my whole life. So there's been a little bit of interest of doing my own thing with this.
Yes. Okay, let me turn off my Alexa real quick, because that's gonna go off the whole time. All right, that's awesome, Alexis. I did a rotation in pediatrics during school, and I think that really served me well when I transitioned to being a dance PT, because a lot of my patients are kids. I mean, they're usually between 14 and 18. There's a lot of the ones that I work with. So it kind of gives the parents like I think it gives the parents reassurance knowing that I've worked in pediatrics, or at least had some experience in pediatrics, and like know about kids' growth plates and all that good stuff. So that's very cool. That's a selling point if you want to market yourself as a dance DPT, because a lot of it is pediatrics. Awesome. Well, welcome. Happy to have you here. Okay, let's go over Alexis's question about how did you figure out starting your business, contracts, insurance, things you need to treat from your house, and all that. The details are a little overwhelming. Yeah. So I was surprised by how easy it was to start my own business. I actually just went to town hall and said, hi, I want to start my own business. And they were like, great, fill out this form. And then you just like write down what the name of your business is going to be. and like one sentence about what it is, and then they process it. A good thing to do is you go online and make sure that your business name is available. So you can just do like a nationwide or like a global search. It's free to see if your business name is available, and then you can register that with your town. The other thing you can do is just have it as a personal proprietorship, which is just essentially you just use your name as your business name. So there's different forms of businesses: personal proprietorship, LLC, S Corp, different configurations. So I started off with my personal proprietorship. That way you just use your social security number as your business number, and it's all kind of like tied into your personal finances, which I think is good to start. I transitioned to LLC just because it splits it up. You get an actual like EIN, like a business number, and your taxes are separate. But then you have to pay taxes on your business. So you want to make sure that you're making profit before you do the LLC. As far as contracts go, you mean like the paperwork that patients have to fill out?
More like liability, like them accepting the risk and all of those things.
Yeah. That's actually all pretty easily Googleable, which I didn't realize either. So I just kind of Googled like healthcare liability contract. And you can just copy and paste it into your intake forms. You can also just call up like a local PT clinic or one that you're not competing with, and just be like, hey, what do you do for your forms? The other thing too is I personally have a mentor who does health law. So I can run things by him if I need to, which is a good resource. If you want his name, I can give you that as well. But yeah, a lot of it's easily Googleable. As far as insurance, I have HPSO, and they charge you based on your years of experience, the size of your business. Am I tweaking out? Can you hear me okay? Yeah, I'm tweaking out a little bit. Hold on. Okay. For some reason, it does that when I minimize Zoom. So yeah, I have HPSO, and they charge you based on like a number of factors, kind of like car insurance, right? And it's fairly affordable. So that really was kind of easy too. And treating for my house, I just put my house as my address, as my business address. And the only thing you need to worry about is like property insurance, right? Liability insurance. So you would call your home insurance company and just make sure you add that liability insurance onto that. Yeah. I guess it's a lot of details, but it's actually a lot easier than you'd think. So just go to town hall, tell them you want to start a business, and do the thing. It'll be done in like 2 days. Yeah. You also have professional liability insurance. Yeah, I have, Christine asked that. I have HPSO. That's insurance that I use. Yeah. So we also obviously have questions from like a broad spectrum of things of like, undergrad years and PT school application and starting your own PT business and niching down, all those good things. So happy to cover the whole spectrum.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you went about building your client base?
Building my client base. Yes. Love this question. All right, I think I'm tweaking out again. Can you hear me okay though?
We can hear you. It's just a little scary looking.
It's like a techno dance party. Yeah, sorry, what was the question? Oh, client base. Yes. Okay, this was also easier than I thought as well. So the biggest hurdle to getting your client base is really your self-confidence. It's totally your self-confidence and just putting yourself out there. So you can sit at home and you can be like, oh my God, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to like make a website and I'm going to get business cards and I'm going to like post things on Instagram, right? But like who's going to just magically call you and show up, right? That's just not going to happen. So when you're first starting out, it's really got to be like people in your community, kind of like what Maddie is doing, where she was like in a dance team and now she's doing their strength and conditioning because they already know her, like her, and trust her. Yeah. So it's a matter of like making those connections with people where they're like, oh, I like her vibe. Like she seems to know what she's talking about. We're going to send people to her. Right. So the biggest thing that gets me clients is I do workshops at dance studios. And that took just like calling some studio owners, and to start, it was people that I knew. Because I had like the studio that I grew up at. I had the studio that like other teachers I knew branched off and started their own studios that from like way back when I was a kid, or like people that I used to teach for, right? So you can just call people that you know, and be like, hey, what do you like? Would you want to sit down for a talk? Like, would you mind having a meeting? And they'd be like, sure, right? So you book a time and you go and you sit down and then you just listen. You're like, all right, what do you need help with? I'm a dance physical therapist, or like, I'm a dancer with athletic training experience, right? Or I'm going into PT school and I have these like exercise science concepts mixed with my dance experience. Tell me about your studio. Like, tell me about what issues you have going on. Like, what's hard for you right now? Like, how can I support you? How can I help you? And just listen, because yeah, I think I would rather just like come up with all these cool ideas in my head and just hope that people buy it. But in reality, you got to just like make real connections, ask them how you can, support them. And then they're going to be so open to it. So that's what I did. And then they'd be like, well, my dancers just really are exhausted from a whole semester of like dancing and competition or performances. And they could probably use some information on how to take care of their bodies, or, something along the lines of like, I have a ton of dancers with ankle injuries. Like they could probably really use a workshop on ankle rehab, or you name it. Right. And so you're like, okay, I'm your girl, let's do it. And then usually right then and there, they're like, let's pick a date. So you just pick a date and you decide what you're offering. Like, okay, let's do a 2-hour workshop. This is how much it's going to be. And then from there, we can get into the details of like how to run a workshop, but that's how I do it. So then I run a workshop and like anywhere from 10 to 20 dancers come, and usually, like 5 dancers end up working with me. So they'll buy like a package deal. Be like, oh, wow, Miss Chris is awesome. And some of them just work with me, like not even for injuries. They just want like dance coaching. They just want to get stronger, or like get their planche higher, or turn better, right? And then they're like, oh, this person knows science and they're in my world. And so that's how I ended up building my client base. Through real connections. So that was really long-winded. Yes, that's pretty much it. It's the same thing online too. Like if you're trying to grow your business online, it really helps to make like actual connections with people through the internet as well. And sometimes you can't necessarily do that, but people normally respond to like logic, or they respond to emotions. They respond to like just getting to know your story and your personality, right? So in a way, they start to kind of feel like they know who you are and they kind of trust you, and then they want to work with you. So yes, that's the story. Yeah. Any of you guys have like patients that you're working with one-on-one right now and have any experience of growing your client base? Alexis, do you have to market yourself? I think another important thing for like figuring out your client base is niching down. So what was really helpful for me is, not just being like, hi, I help people exercise. It's like, you really got to know what your niche is. Yeah. Like who exactly is your ideal client? And then what do they need from you? And where are they, and what hours work for them, and like all that kind of stuff. So like knowing who you're targeting is important. Yes, yes. Okay. What else? I'm going to look up some questions. Unless you guys have questions, you can type them in. Alexis,
can you tell us a little bit about, like, now that you started your own business, like what kind of like documentation are you doing, or like how do you bill your clients and like decide on a price to charge for different things, and what that looks like?
Yeah. So the way that I decide on the price that I charge is you have to charge a price that you can scale with, right? If you charge $50 for a session, how are you going to scale your business? Like, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to scale your business? How are you going to afford marketing? How are you going to like hire someone else eventually, right? So you can go on vacation, like different things like that. So you got to make sure that it's a price that you feel is worth your time, and that's also going to like be productive for your business. One thing I will say though is that I offer sort of a sliding scale. Essentially, if people come to me and they say like, hey, we really want to work with you, but we're economically disadvantaged, is there anything you can offer me? Then I'm like, absolutely, let's do it. So pricing yourself a little higher than you're comfortable with doing actually helps you then basically be like Robin Hood. And you can like then give lower prices to other people and have it not feel cringe every time, you know, you have a session with them, and not feel like you're giving more than you can, you know, not feel cringe. It doesn't ever feel cringe, but it's just like, you know, you want to feel like your time is being valued and that you're not giving more than you can, right? So yeah, if there is surprisingly like so many people out there that are happy to pay this top dollar price for your sessions. And I think that it's just that mentality, like that mindset, the money mindset. Like, do you have a growth mindset, or do you have a scarcity mindset? Right. And just knowing that abundance is out there, and you just put yourself out there and you be confident and you charge that price, and it benefits everybody. Right. So the other thing is people value the services that you provide more when they pay for it. Like if you provided something for free, they would just like no show, or they, you know, I don't think they would care as much. Versus like if they paid $200 to see you for an hour, like you better believe they're going to be on time. Like they're going to come ready. They're going to like make the most of the time, ask good questions and be committed. And then their results are going to be better. Right. So money is really just like an exchange of energy. And so I think that's an important mindset to have with that. So the billing software that I use, there are a lot of different options, but I use, I have two different main systems that three. I'm going to tell you the third one, which I'm very excited about. I'll tell you that in a little bit. But I use Kajabi, which is like a one-stop shop, everything in one for people who do online sales and coaching and marketing. It does like your emails, it does your funnels, it does like your membership site, your online courses, your website, everything all in one. And so I like using that for a lot of my package deals because you can create like discount codes, and it's just really easy to use. So I love Kajabi, but it is a little pricey. So you don't necessarily have to start off with Kajabi. As far as my software for working with my patients, I needed something HIPAA compliant, right? So I couldn't use Kajabi to take my notes. Yeah. Because not HIPAA compliant. So I use what's called Jane, Jane, and it's also pretty affordable. It's kind of like a sliding scale based on how big your business is. And so what I do is the Jane app also has like a scheduler. So my website has like a link to my scheduling page, and then people can schedule and they can pay for their appointments in there. and they can pick their appointment times, they can reschedule, they get appointment reminders, all that good stuff. So I essentially have 2 different ways of billing. I have the Kajabi if I'm doing like a big package and I want to offer a discount code and I want to have like a fancy, pretty page with it, right? And then I just have my booking page if people are like ready to book me for my sessions. So I use both of them. I'm still figuring out how to like kind of streamline that a little bit better. But as of now, Jane does not offer, like, you can't post your big packages on there. It's just like a one-off type thing. So until they upgrade that, I just go in the back end and apply people's packages to their chart so they can book their package deal. But yeah, and then there's a cool thing. I don't know if you know, you've heard of this, but there's a cool thing called Zapier. And it's essentially like a website that connects different platforms. So let's say you want, like, every time someone sends you an email, you want to send them, you know, like a downloadable PDF or something, then you can automate that on Zapier. You can also do automations in Kajabi as well, but Zapier is nice because it connects different softwares. So I guess I'll spill the beans now, but I am launching an app for all things dance science. And so what I've used Zapier for is that once people purchase a subscription on my Kajabi, then it creates them an account on the app. And so then it sends them their password and stuff so they can go onto the app. Getting in the weeds, you guys.
How did you launch an app? Like, did you develop it? Is it an app that already exists? Tell me about this.
I'm so excited. Okay, this is another thing that is like way easier than I thought it was going to be, launching this app. So there are different app developers that you can work with. I found one that's really user friendly. You don't need to know coding. You don't have to like talk to some guy on a phone. Essentially, it's a service that I found. It's called passion.io. And for $79 a month, you can get this subscription for like a basically like click and drag app. So it's super easy. You just go on this website, you download, or you go on their website, you create your app, you just put pictures and like modules and whatever you want in there, you pick your subscriptions. And then once you're done with that, you submit it, they look it over, and then they submit it to Apple, and Apple launches your app. So, and Google Play as well. So it's like super easy. I don't know why more people don't do it. The hard part is making the content in the app, right? That I'm currently working on doing, like filling a bunch of modules and stuff, which is fun. But that's more tedious than the actual process of making the app. So yeah, things I've figured out along the way, but it's taken me a lot of time to like figure it all out and like piece it all together. And so I think that something that's been super helpful for me is having a mentor. When I first decided, how far out of school was I? It might have been 6 months to a year. I was like a year out of PT school. I hired a mentor for a few months and she was really awesome. And then we just kind of lost touch. And then I found another mentor who I really liked his like drive. And so I work with him actually like 3 days a week. So that's been a huge game changer to just have someone that's like gone before me that, you know, can just help me prioritize what I should be doing and like where to start and the details of things. So super helpful. Otherwise, if I don't have someone to help me like stay on task, I just like kind of sit in my house and come up with a bunch of ideas and none of it ever happens. You know, that's hopefully relatable. But
so are your clients paying to use the app, or how does that work? Like how is the app like giving you money back into your business?
good question. So I have 3 different tiers. Well, I'm going to actually be doing a lot of different types of subscriptions on the app. But I have 3 different tiers of subscriptions. The first one is free, and people can just access the modules. But what I'm doing is I am creating YouTube videos for the modules, and then I embed the YouTube videos into the app. So every time someone watches my YouTube video in the app, I'm getting views on YouTube, and then you can monetize your YouTube. So you get paid every time someone watches a video in your app. Then the second subscription tier, they pay to like unlock new, like more information essentially. And then there's a third tier where they get to like do coaching with me. So that's how I make money on that. But the reason why I started with the app is because it's just super accessible for people. You'll kind of realize like once you get into the professional world that like everyone's like, let's create an 8-week course, an online course. And who wants to do courses? Like, honestly, why am I going to find your website and click on it and like buy some course to like watch these videos? Like, it's just, I'm going to forget what your website URL is. And I don't want to deal with that. Like, this seems boring. So, yeah, just trying to like make it easier for people to access the information. And I also have links to my booking page and like all of my services through the app too. So when people want to work with me, I'm like, just get my app. And that's crazy. One click, it's on their phone. I can send them push notifications. It's just better for like communication. And people are just happier with it than having to be like, oh, what was her booking site website again? And what's my username and password? And like, it's just kind of annoying, right? Yes, darling. Want some water? You can have some of my water. You guys want to say hi to Evie? Can you show your cute face? Come here. Here's Evelyn. This is where I get most of my pediatric experience, Alexis. She's in first grade and she does ballet too. Huh. I promise I'm not a crazy dance mom. She actually wants to do it, right? Okay. Mwah. Love you. Thank you for your guest appearance. Yeah. Awesome. We probably have time for like one or two more questions. I want to make sure that you guys leave here feeling inspired and directed and like knowing where you're going. Oh my goodness, Maddie, work-life balance in PT school. Oh my God. Okay. So there's a saying. It goes like this. In all things, moderation, including moderation, right? So you want to like have balance in life, but sometimes stupid universities make you like be out of balance, right? So it's like so hard to actually have a balance when you're in PT school. Christine and I went to Baylor University, which is a 2-year accelerated hybrid program, which Christine and I could both comment on for you if you'd like. But it was 60 hours a week. It was like nonstop, year round, hardly any breaks, very exhausting. And Christine, you could probably like give some advice on this too. But what I realized going into PT school was I was so gung-ho at first. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to read all the textbooks. I'm going to be such a good student and take all these notes and just do all the assignments. And, you know, because you can kind of do that in undergrad, right? A little bit. But PT school was just so much more fast paced. Yes, darling. Okay, you can raid the pantry. You have 10 minutes. Hog wild. So she wants dessert. She knows to ask for dessert when I'm on a call and she'll get it. Like, just don't bug me. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I started off PT school, like, oh my God, PT school is my life. I'm going to do all the things, right? I quickly figured out that was not sustainable. I was just like, not leaving the house, especially because it was an online program. I wasn't even walking to the mailbox to like get the mail. I was just stuck in the house. And my mother-in-law like delivered dinner to me. And I was like, oh my God, I have this quiz tomorrow. And I'm just like freaking out. And I was like, I'm going to die. I can't do this. Like
the first 8 weeks was the hardest. I don't think I left the house for the first 8 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not the only one. See, the first 8 weeks was like, you're doing
anatomy and like the
anatomy, physiology. That was hard. Yeah. You have to make it through those like preliminary classes. So anyways, but I realized that like you can't keep that up. And so I started finding ways to like make sure that I was going to the gym. And Christine can attest to me taking all of my classes on the recumbent bike. I was like grossing people out. I'd like bring my computer and put it on the recumbent bike, and we're like learning about gangrene. There's like all these disgusting pictures, but I just found ways to like make sure I was taking care of myself while I was studying. Plus BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor, important. You can learn better when you're exercising and or right after exercising. You retain information, which is why you do cardio right before you teach a stroke patient how to walk again. Right, Alexis, you probably know this with your neuro kids. Cardio is super important for learning. What else did I do for work-life balance? I just went out a lot, huh, Christine? Every time we had labs.
I mean, I just say that you probably like studied the least out of all of us, but I guess having like a network of other students to work with and study with and have study guides, and you didn't buy any textbooks after the first semester.
You did not. I didn't. Don't buy the textbooks. Don't read the textbooks.
It's just
you can't. You don't have time for it. This is like real talk. This is real talk. Yeah. Christine. Okay. So this is a really good point. You need to make a friend like Christine that always knows which page her notes are on in her digital notes. I could literally be like, hey, when did our teacher talk to us about the ACL? You know, and she'd be like, let me see. Right here. Here's the notes. I'm like, oh, you're the best. So, Chris, find a friend that has like really good administrative skills that help you keep your life organized. So much more I could say about that. Anything to add, Christine and or Alexis, on work-life balance? Yes.
Okay, well, I think something that I would add is sometimes you have to spend time away from your PT school friends, because inevitably you're going to end up talking about class and then you just get stressed out all over again. So you just gotta like leave those people sometimes and just have time for you and your family and the people that you love.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's true. Mine was a hybrid, so I had most of the time away from them, but I could see
I was
that.
gonna say, we just had like our sleepovers when we were together.
It was like our girl time. I mean, yeah, we had our labs. Honestly, I haven't felt like I've had work-life balance until now, owning my own business. It's just constantly, my entire life has been stressful until now. Like just going through school, studying like crazy, working 3 jobs to like pay for school, and then working for the man and working at a clinic and like trying to juggle like working and being a mom and doing all this stuff. It's insane. Like you just can't do it. But now that I'm working for myself, I don't have to work as many hours because I charge, a high price. And now I actually have time to work out and like meditate and read books for fun and all that good stuff. So I think that would be the goal, is to just like work towards making changes in your life eventually when you can, that allow for more flexibility in your life, which means not trading your time for money. But that's a whole another spiel I could go off on. Okay, what next question? Resources for treatment eval. Ooh, I like this. Neuro. What's the neuro about?
Y'all are talking about how like gross anatomy is the worst, and neuro was that for me. Like that was when I was just, I can't do this. We need a break.
Neuro was like my lowest grade. Neuro was so freaking hard. I'm like, you want me to memorize what? Like, yeah, it's wild. Maddie and Sarah, if you have time to review, like be super fresh on your anatomy and your physiology right before PT school, highly recommend. It will make your life so much easier. But yeah, neuro was insane. And that was my lowest grade for sure. Which is funny, is like now that I've graduated, I actually find it really interesting. But okay, resources for treatment and eval. I actually put together a fun little thing where I talk about which eval tests I do on dancers. because a dancer eval is going to look different than like a normal eval in some ways. So if you would like me to send you that, just shoot me your email address and I'll send you the PDF. You can put it in the chat, or you can just like private message me that. And I'll, sorry, my screen keeps tweaking out. Anyways, well, this was wonderful, you guys, to meet with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your precious days to get together and talk about nerdy dance science things. I think that the world of dance needs more science, right? We need more people like you that are nerdy and wanting to help and change the world of dance for the better. And so I'm just super happy to have met you guys. Hopefully I was able to answer some helpful questions for you. All right. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for coming, and have a good weekend. All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Take care. Okay, that's the end of our call. Thank you so much for watching the recording back. Again, if you'd like to join in on group community calls like this, you can do that in the free medical professionals section of the Dance Evolution app. And if you want more exclusive coaching, you can join the MedPro coaching group, also found in the Dance Evolution app. Thank you again for watching. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, and we'll talk soon.